Ask any married couple what the most stressful things in their marriage are, and chances are they're going to say money as being among the top ones. Not being on the same page with your finances or not being prepared when an unexpected bump happens can really cause problems in a marriage. So, lucky for us, we're talking with two happily married people, Jay and Brittany Hagee, who are with Alon Planning Partners. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good to see you, Julie.
Some of us sometimes learn that the hard way, and I will raise my hand.
Sure.
Because when my husband and I got married 29 almost years ago, it was just stardust and love.
Right.
We never thought that we better think about our financial
Trouble?
outlook.
What do you mean trouble? Yeah.
The
right?
minister, when
Oh,
we did
my
our
goodness.
counseling, said, "How do you fight when you fight?" And we said, "Oh, we don't."
Yeah.
You know, right.
Such bliss.
Right,
Yeah,
such
it's
bliss. And bliss today, but you do,
Right.
it really is important.
That's right.
That you have the same philosophy, or at least understand each other's.
Well, and the chances are you probably are not going to agree on much when it comes to finances. So the point is being willing to process that together. We
That's right.
actually had our own little conversation just this week about a point of disagreement.
We actually do
that
have disagreements from time to time. So
You
can
do.
believe
It's
it?
natural. So
Yeah.
that's normal. That's normal to have those disagreements, and being willing to process those and talk through those together, and actually plan together.
That's
Because
right.
a lot of times what we see when it comes to couples is that if they work independently, what they do can kind of counteract the other.
Yeah.
So maybe gains that one gets on investments or something can be counteracted by a tax bill the other incurs.
Right.
Because they're not working
So just
together.
be on the same page. Yeah.
Right.
And so we happen to be independent fiduciary advisors and a household of our own that we have to work through that ourselves. So and we see a lot of couples, right? We see blended families. We see couples that want to work independently, and it's okay to have independent accounts. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but you should at least be informed. You should know this is an area where the left hand needs to know what the right hand's doing in a lot of occasions, because you do not want to counterbalance each other, whether it becomes your allocation strategies or your tax planning, like Brittany was talking about, or your estate plan. That's a big deal.
Okay, so so many things I'd love to talk about. So one, though, is the fact that, I've already lost my train of thought. Darn it, I was trying so hard to not interrupt. It's a New Year's resolution. But when it comes to the conversations, though, of what you do with that money, some people can just shut down.
Yeah.
Is that true? The minute you begin to talk finances,
Oh,
they
absolutely.
just get almost like PTSD or something.
Yeah,
So what's
I've
the
seen it.
starting point?
Well, the starting point a lot of time is just being open to having a conversation, okay? So sometimes we'll get couples in, and it's not always the man that runs the finances. Sometimes we have a lot of ladies that run the finance of their household. But usually one or the other of the couple is bent towards the finances. And sometimes the other spouse doesn't want to have anything to do with those finances. So we try to encourage them to at least be informed, because we've seen couples, unfortunately, that one is early predeceased the other, and the other spouse didn't know how to get in the bank accounts, how to pay the mortgage bill. There's things that they were just uninformed on. So we're not saying that each person in the relationship has to be demonstrative and have lead and take charge on finances, but at least be informed of what's going on so that they're working together.
I remembered my thought that escaped my
Yeah,
mind
sure.
earlier, and it was that something that's a little bit unique to y'all is that you work with people from newlyweds up to
That's right.
retirees, so that this is not too early for anyone to begin having the conversation.
That's right, and that's part of what we love about what we do, is helping folks get started and get on the right track, but then also folks who are really nearing retirement and in that stage of life as well, ensuring that things are set in place as they do make that transition. Because I think the transition from working years to retirement years is underestimated, the challenges that come at that time. It's all starry eyes and kind of like for newlyweds, right?
Yeah.
You see all the good and the exciting, but there's also some things that you really do have to wrestle through. And we really encourage, whether you're individual, single, or couples, but especially couples, to process through that together, to have conversations together. So much of the time, financial conversations can be tense and stressful.
Especially if it's a reactive conversation.
Absolutely, instead of a proactive.
But what we encourage is have those financial dream sessions with your spouse. It doesn't always have to be negative. You're going to disagree. That's okay. That's part of what we're here for. We'll help mediate those conversations and help you try and come to an agreement point.
We do work as counselors as well.
Well, and when you're saying that about we will do these things, I was going to send people to your website, and I will continue to do that, because y'all often have classes for people so that they're not just alone in their own kitchen having this conversation.
Well, and structured specifically towards couples. We're teaching a few workshops here in the next month or two that are geared towards couples, and like, how do we do this together? Because whether you're newlywed or whether you're, we see a lot of similarities to newlyweds and newly retired couples because your rhythms are changing, your paces are changing. Like, there's a lot of things in both seasons, and so there's a lot of similarities, even though you may have been married 40 years, right? Because you will have a change of pace, a change of structure in the way you do life, and anytime that comes, it's going to come with a money strain and an emotional strain as well.
I guess I'll speak to me personally, but on the emotional side of things, like right now, it's still very expensive to live, right? And a lot of people are feeling that then naturally. If you've got kids, as a parent, all you want is to do everything for your kids. And do you sometimes talk to people and they feel like there's almost a sense of failure within them if they can't provide for something?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many folks have these dreams and these goals that what they want to provide for their kids. And sometimes it can actually even be off balance to where they're giving so much to their kids that they're suffering in their situation themselves.
We actually see that quite a bit.
And it's not that they're giving to their kids because they're in a moment of crisis. It's just because that's the system of expectation
that's become
been
their
established.
Habit. Sure.
Right. So that's different. It's different than helping in a moment of crisis. So yeah, we've got to be, especially as a couple, you've got to be aware of that. And again, let's bring it back to planning. That's why planning is so important. Because when you actually plan, you can do more. Because you're saving more on taxes. Because you're making the most of your investments and working together instead of counteracting each other's actions. Also,
planning is an active verb. So even if what you're literally doing today is creating the plan, that's still an action.
It takes action. If without action, it's not going to happen. We always talk about how knowledge plus action is what's really powerful. We educate folks all the time, workshops and radio, TV, things like this, and you can't just have that knowledge. You take the knowledge, you got to put some action behind it, and that's what's really
powerful. Because we live in a society that's inundated with information. We have information everywhere at our fingertips, our cell phones. You know, we can get to about any kind of information that we want, whether it's financial or healthcare or whatever it may be. But unless you put that action behind and actually step into the planning process, and sometimes having a partner to do that with helps encourage you, right? When you go to work out at the gym, it's good to have a partner that's giving you motivation and accountability. And that's what we act as with folks, and we try to put a plan in action for their life, not just give education and wisdom, but we have to bring it into action so that they have transformation in their life.
So if I send people to the website, they can not only learn how to make an appointment with you, but also about these classes that you'll have coming
there's tons of resources on our website.
Women's so if you go workshops, couples workshops, retirement workshop, all kinds of different options available, as well as our weekly podcasts, things like that, resources that we make available to folks.
Okay, well then there it is, alonplanning.com. That's what they want to do, is help you plan for the life that you want. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.